Hello and welcome. This is gonna be a video for Guardian Dominating Blow character, which I am currently playing in Hardcore Delirium League. So first of all, of course you can play this in softcore. This is not a build that is like so tanky, I don't know, only for mapping, something like that. No, this is not something like that. You can do this. So let's talk about the build's capabilities. First of all, this build is probably one of the cheapest minion builds right now. Talking about Delirium League, even comparing to Metamorph League, let's say 3.9 and 3.10, the league we are currently in. So this build is very cheap because if you played minion build previously, you know that those Baron zombie builds and the Spectre builds people are playing right now, which are gonna be completely nerfed next league. So those builds are very expensive. We are talking about at least 50 exiles. Of course, I am in hardcore right now and I don't have all the gear, which I'm gonna talk about that also later in the video. I'm gonna talk about all the potential upgrades, so you can play this in softcore and clear all content easily. So we are also gonna talk about that. So this build is way cheaper comparing to other minion builds, and also a very good league starter. So this is my first character in hardcore this league, so I did all this atlas, and I still need some stones, of course, because this is hardcore. I'm taking it slow. I'm currently doing some red maps. So with this budget gear, which you can get below 2 exalted in a softcore league, I can do all these easily. So there are also going to be clips at the end, maybe, I don't know. So watch those if you want. But we are going to talk about softcore too and all the potential upgrades. So let's talk about the skill first. What is it? So Dominating Blow is an attack skill which you first need to attack to a monster, and then when that monster dies, it will be converted into sentinels of dominance. So those are your guys. You can have 9 normal monsters, normal sentinels, 3 magic, and 1 rare. So if you have a helm enchant, maybe you can get additional magic or even rare sentinels. So there are some helm enchants for those. So actually maximum additional rare sentinel is very good for mapping, because once you convert that rare monster into an ally, you will benefit from all that rare monster's auras. So all your minions and you also get benefit. So if you have 2 summons rare sentinels, if you use that helm enchant, you can basically have 2 mini aura bots, let's say, with you all the time. Currently, let's say I have 7k life and some inner shield. It is not much, but let's say I converted an elite with discipline aura, which gives inner shield, right? That rare gives me like 3.5k inner shield. So I will have like 10k life effective, let's say, yeah. So there are some very good rare mods, especially very useful in hardcore. So those rare guys, rare sentinels, are very good for, you know, buffs and auras. So that additional +1 can be really useful. I'm currently using Herald of Purity, has 20% reduced mana reservation. There is also a 30% version because this is hardcore, so it is hard to buy. So let's just first talk about gem links and why I use big gem, and then I will talk about gear also. So we have a carrying golem. So carrying golem gives some physical damage for non-golem minions. So this is a physical build. The dominants, the sentinels, deal physical damage because they attack melee. Also, yeah. So Herald of Purity, we also use this for additional minions, which also deals physical damage. So carrying golem is very good to buff our both Herald of Purity sentinels and also dominance minions. So Holy Relic. So whenever I believe we attack, yeah, when you hit an enemy with an attack, yeah. So Dominating Blow is an attack. You always attack some monsters, you know, like this. So that Holy Relic will give that Nova spell all the time, and it gives some life regeneration for you and your allies. So this is to just get some healing. And also we are using Feeding Frenzy linked to both Summon Holy Relic and Carrying Golem. So Feeding Frenzy is whenever one of these minions attack, they will give us Feeding Frenzy buff. So that also gives some damage, I believe. So I will probably give you a picture on the screen. I need to check the gamepedia. So this is a good buff to boost our minions. So Herald of Purity, let's talk about our buffs now. So first of all, Generosity linked to Dread Banner. So Dread Banner is obviously this banner behind us. And it gives Impale chance and also Impale effect and some other stuff that doesn't really much matters. So this is a physical melee build. So we are also using Impale, also linked to our minions. We are going to talk about that to boost our damage even more, especially to elites and bosses, because Impale is something that you need to attack some and stack. So each time an enemy gets impaled, you will stack some damage on it. And of course the minions also do that, so it isn't about us, it is about the minions. So the red banner gives them impale chance and impale effect, and if you link it to generosity, that impale effect will get increased. And I believe also the impale chance also gets increased. We can check path of building later to see that. And we are also using pride, so nearby enemies take at least 19% more physical damage to even boost physical damage more. So lastly, all the rest of the reserve, because this is like let's see, 10% reservation, 50% reservation, so that leaves 40%. So we're going to use Herald of Purity and link it as much as we can for that rest of 40% reservation. So Herald of Purity, multi-strike, brutality. So right now I have convocation here. It doesn't have to be linked to those guys. That's just to summon your minions to your side, which every minion build uses probably. So normally you need impale or maybe melee damage on your fourth link, but to do that we need more reservation. So right now I only have Helm enchant, which is not the final one obviously. The 30% one should be the best one, the Eternal Labyrinth. I also have Sovereignty unlocked here, some mana reservations. So normally you need the Circle of Guilt ring, which I'm gonna talk about soon, to even reduce the cost of purities more. So you can link something else here, like a melee damage, melee physical, or maybe even impale. This should actually give more DPS. And if you even have 30% reservation helm, or even use two different Circle of Guilds, you can do that. You can even increase the reservation more and use an Elder based helmet and put minion damage in it. And minion damage support, I don't currently use that because it gives less DPS. So there are minion damage support in the Elder helmets, and you can craft a helmet with that and also use 4 link here, so that will make your Herald of Purity's 5 link if you have enough reservation. So you can even boost these guys DPS more. You can also boost Herald of Purity DPS. Let's not say boost DPS, boost the numbers, yeah, with these Pure Agony cluster jewels, which I'm going to talk later detailed. So these guys actually deal a lot of damage, so we are not only using Dominating Blow, so Herald of Purity also does a very good job, especially when killing bosses, because we are not linking any melee splash or something to those guys. These are just for killing bosses and elites. You can also play only Herald of Purity, that is another build of course, but most of the stuff is similar to this build, so you can also do that. That's a very powerful build. So other links, let's talk about Dominating Blow now. Dominating Blow, multi-strike obviously, fortify. So this is very good for mostly hardcore, but again in softcore this gem also gives more damage, more melee damage. So it is another good choice on, of course, in softcore. Brutality for that more melee, more physical damage. Impale and melee splash for mapping. So you want to swap this with minion melee physical damage. If you have maybe white sockets, you can use Worichi on research here. He should be here on research and get yourself some white sockets. And maybe you can use not melee physical, maybe awakened melee, not melee minion damage, yeah. But there is also awakened melee physical. So yeah, so you can use different gems if you want, but you need to swap it with melee splash, so the color must be same, or maybe a white socket, like I just said. So other than that, we have specters. So let's talk about specters, what I am using, and other recommendations. So I currently have two monkeys. One is for frenzy charges, one is for power charges. So here is how you get those guys. Let's get some desecrate. So Act 7. Maybe you can get those from other places. You can check PoE database website. It says where you can get, but you can get both monkeys in Ashen Fields. So you just need to come here, spam desecrate, and of course you need Spectre on your skill bar, and press your toggle corpse button. It is default B, I believe. So host chieftain, this is one of those guys. It says empowers allies, so this is for power charge. And you also need the other monkey. Let's see if this one is, yeah, Carnage chieftain. Frenzy's allies. So we have both monkeys here right now. Host chieftain and Carnage chieftain. So these guys will give you and your minions frenzy and power charges, which will boost our damage, minions damage a lot. So you want to link meat shield to make them tankier. Blood magic, this is very important. If you don't link blood magic to your monkeys, they cannot use that frenzy and power charge generating war cry or whatever it is all the time, because they run out of mana. So if you use blood magic, then they will just spam it whenever the cooldown is ready. So that way you can generate more than one charges. If you don't use this, you will only have like one of each charge, because they won't have enough mana. So this is very important. And lastly, I have Molten Shell here. You can obviously link another thing here, like maybe minion life, to even make them tankier. So I'm currently running very red tier maps, tier 12 and 13s, and I have never seen them dying. I never resummoned them, so they are actually a little tankier, I believe. But I'm sure that if you especially play in softcore and do some crazy mod maps, like, you know, minus max resistance, and I don't know if that works for minions, but some extra damage modifiers, maybe some double beyond, I'm sure they will die. So yeah, that additional fourth socket, maybe some minion life, can be very useful. So lastly, on our boots, we have some mobility setup. So flame dash. So you don't need this. I need this for gem swapping. But once you level that gem that I currently just hit level 20, I should actually put this out now and use something else then. Shield charge and faster attacks. So you can obviously link maybe blood magic or fortify here to get fortify from shield charge, but I already have dominating blow with fortify. So you can also put another thing here, it doesn't matter. You can use second wind maybe to boost flame dash cooldown, but normally we are using shield charge, which is very fast, combining with quicksilver flask. You can use this very fast. So flame dash is only to climb some ledges, you know, because shield charge cannot climb. Because we are using claw, we cannot use leap slam, so shield charge is probably your best option. but you need some flame dash or maybe dash to climb those ledge, and so those kind of gaps that shield charge cannot go through. So that's about the gem setup. Let's just talk about the items now. So for your weapon, I'm using Scourge. So this drops from Pit of Chimera. So if you are playing this at league start, you'll probably need maybe a week to get this, because people need to progress through tiers 16s and get this one so you can buy it. So why we are using this? So first of all, minions have 10% attack speed, which is good, and increase and reductions to minion damage also affect you. So because we are using dominating blow to kill some monsters, especially at the start of a map, we need some DPS on our own so we can kill some monsters. But we already have some monkeys and carrying golem to help us, so it is not hard to kill that first pack of monsters. But that increase and reduction also boosts us. Normally you can also get it here, which I currently have, but I'm gonna respec it soon, so I'm gonna delete this once I buy a good cluster jewel. So I need more points. So normally you don't need this one here, you can save some points. Just get these minion damage nodes and get Righteous Army, and delete these 3 points if you are playing with Scourge. So you can save some points. And lastly, minions deal 70% damage if you have hit recently, so we are hitting all the time. So this is always up. So these are all the rolls. So you can actually get 15% attack speed for minions. So you can get a better one. At league start, or if you don't have enough money, but this is like maybe 1 chaos most of the time. So if this is expensive somehow, you can just use something with some physical damage on it, so you can kill those monsters easily. So just use something random until you get this one. So helmet with Herald of Purity reduction, or maybe even +1 rare sentinels, which we talked about earlier. So there are some other stuff, good stuff like that. Just use whatever you want. So if you want to boost your single target DPS even more, so Herald of Purity reduction is probably your best choice, but try to get one with 30%, so you can link those good stuff, more stuff here, combined with Circle of Guild rings, which I'm going to talk about soon now. So just focus on life, some chaos resist if you can, like I did, because in hardcore obviously you need some chaos resist to not die to Al-Hazmin and his minions. So you can also get minion damage if you have an Elder base helm to link those purities. And lastly, or maybe not lastly, that should be priority, +2 or 3 minion gems, socketed obviously. So for amulet, I currently use just a rare amulet for some resist and life. So normally the best one, I already created it here, it is this one. So a hunter based, get some life if you need some resist, maybe some other stats if you can, but that can be harder to get combined with strength gems. So +1 level of all strength gems will both increase our damage on dominating blow, because this is a strength gem obviously, and also Herald of Purity. So that will give +1 to both of our high damage dealing minions. If you are rich and want to invest more, you can also combine it with Warlord with Awaken Orbs and also get +1 physical gems. So you can get a single amulet with both level of physical gems and also strength gems. But one thing to notice, dominating blow for some reason doesn't have physical tag on it. So that physical plus level stuff don't work on dominating blow, unfortunately. So your Herald of Purity will get 2 levels from that amulet, but your dominating blow only get 1 because it doesn't have physical tag. So that's something to take notice. So for rings, you can just use some rare ones to keep your dexterity, even get some resist. So you need some dexterity to use Scourge, 113. If you are, if you couldn't find some good rings, you can just put some here, maybe expertise 30 dex, or even get precision. I did this while leveling. So just get some dex until you have some good rings, and let's say jewelry overall, rings and amulet. So you can keep your dex, and you can even put dex in your jewels if you want, but you will probably lose some damage because you put dexterity. Yeah. So try to get your dexterity from rings, some resist, and also that good amulets. So the best in slot ring. Let's just talk about the Circle of Guild. So this is something you can get from synthesized maps, distant memories. So this is a boss drop. So those maps are like 70 chaos right now. So the rings are a little pricey. So they are also hard to find at league start. So this is something you should get later in the league when you have some money. And these rings will get cheaper once people start farming. So the best in slot one is with Herald of Purity reservation reduce, and also Sentinels of Purity deals damage. So you can just get one with reservation reduce and link even more gems to your Herald of Purities. And once you have the money, you can get one also with Sentinel damage. So this is the best one. This also gives some attribute, so you can also keep your dexterity considering this ring. Yeah, you can even use 2 of these rings and craft maybe an insane helmet. I don't know if there is any other beneficial mods for minion Herald of Purity on helmets. So you can even reduce the reservation more and link more stuff to your heralds. So for shield, I'm playing in hardcore, so I'm using Ahun's heritage. So this gives +2 all maximum resistances while you have no endurance charges. So unless you are using some stuff, like enduring cry maybe to generate charges, you don't have endurance charges normally. So I have that +2 resistance all the time. You can see my resistance are 79, 78, 78. So maximum resistance are very high right now with this shield. I also have +1 on my tree, which I'm going to talk about my tree in a second. So here +1, and also I have +1 fire resist here. So it is very good to increase your maximum resistances to increase your survivability. So this shield is very good for both softcore and hardcore, but you can use some maybe crazy stuff, some influence items in softcore. It is easier to buy or craft, let's say. So this is just a budget option. You can actually use a rare shield with socketed gems have reduced mana reservation and link your these buffs in that shield to even reduce your mana reserve more. And maybe you can skip on helm enchant. I don't know, you need to calculate it. So that is another good option. So you can also use that kind of shield. So for glows, nothing special, just some dex, life, resist. You don't need mana leech, but it helps a little. You can also get mana leech from rings, I believe, but you don't actually need that. Maybe while leveling, a mana flask is good. You can just use mana flask until you get some mana leech from somewhere. So belt. So my belt actually sucks because I'm playing in hardcore. I didn't buy anything good because I couldn't afford it. So just focus on life, even strength to increase your life even more, and just keep your resistances here. So this is just for some life and resist, and you can use a scheme wise to even use some jewels to boost your minions DPS. And finally boots. Try to get at least 20% movement speed, because we are moving all the time and also using shield charge, and shield charge also scales with movement speed. So you need movement speed on your boots, and get some resist and life. So for flasks, quicksilver, jade, rumi's concoction, quartz flask, and a life flask. So what you want on those? So obviously you need bleeding, and I put it on my bleeding. What's that? Life flask, yeah. Quartz for some survivability. dodge, attack and spell. It also gives phasing, so if you somehow get stuck, maybe this will help you get through monsters. And I put curse on it. You can also put freeze on your flask, or even shock. So Rumi is very good for increasing our block chance and also armor, and combining it with molten shell. Let's see, if normally I have 2k molten shell absorption without any flask, but if I increase my armor, now I have 3.5k. So increasing that armor is also very good for that molten shell. And by the way, normally you need to link increased duration on your molten shell. So I probably need to switch this now, put molten shell here and put flame dash here, but I need another blue socket, and put increased duration here. So the best setup for molten shell also requires increased duration. So I forgot to say that probably. So molten shell is very crucial for, especially in hardcore, but also in softcore. It gives a very good amount of absorption and it has a very little cooldown. And also you have wall molten shell to pop when you are fighting a boss, a metamorph boss, legion, something like that, and this gives more than 10k absorption, and this lasts like insane amount. It says 11 seconds without even increased duration. So this is like 10k plus absorption, so very good defensive skill overall. Try to get one with also quality to increase the duration even more. So on my jade I have freeze, so if you don't have freeze on your quartz, just put it here. And finally quicksilver. If you are playing softcore, you can get movement speed on your quicksilver. Since I am playing hardcore, so I'm using shock immunity on my quicksilver, which is very important. But our movement speed is more than enough, because with shield charge we are already very fast. So you don't actually need that movement speed, so you can put shock or even freeze, one of these. Just combine, just put something that you didn't have on your other flask, yeah. Just make sure you have freeze, curse and bleed, and put shock if you can. So those are about the flasks. This is where I'm gonna talk about my talent tree, and also I'm gonna show you how you should improve your tree when you have your end game gear, so you can reach more than 20 million post DPS. So first of all, I will show you my tree. So when you first start leveling, let me just give you some tips about leveling if you are curious. Just go like this, get these minion damage, attack damage nodes, and then get the other stuff as usual. You don't need this part while leveling because this is just to make minions a little tankier. You can get these before starting maps. This wheel here is for dominating blow, mostly for dominating blow because it has skill effect duration, so it increases dominating blows durations. Right now my minion says 29 second duration. It is normally 20 second, I believe. So it adds another 9 seconds if you get this wheel, because these have minion duration on those. So make sure you get these when you have dominating blow. Dominating blow comes at Act 3, 28 levels. Before Act 3 you can level with smite and also use some zombies if you want, and that is enough to get to Act 3. And just some other minion notes here. This also affects, makes attack speed affects you, so this is very beneficial, so make sure you get this as soon as possible. Some life resist. This minion wheel, make sure you get this while leveling, and once you have Scourge Claw, then you can undo these 3 points, this point, because this has the same stuff with Scourge. It gives increase and reductions to minion damage, also affects you. It is the same thing. So once you have Scourge, just delete these. Some life, jewel sockets. You can get the jewel sockets when you have good jewels, so you can just hold until maybe level 85 or something like that. So do not unlock jewel sockets unless you have good jewels. But this jewel and this jewel is only 1 point away, So you can just buy something cheap and unlock these two sockets. So let's talk about clusters, because other stuff again same: life, 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 resist, life, regeneration, again life. So right now this is how I play, because I'm still in the process of gearing. So let's just talk about all the cluster jewels in the path of building. So what you should focus on when you have the money. So how your end game should be. So this part is still the same. So the only difference is I don't have constitution, because I need to save some points. Also I undo all these points here, so more of a reduction from life. But we are gonna use fatals in the jewels. We also have clusters here, so we will get some life back. But overall this version has less life, so it is more of a soft core viable 3, but we still have 6k life, so it isn't low. This is more than enough for softcore. You can obviously go for more if you have better gear. I just crafted some pieces random here. Maybe you can get more. Maybe you can use a vermilion ring instead of amethyst. That will give you at least 100 more life. Maybe you can have an open prefix body armor, so you can also craft maximum life. So that should also give at least another 100 life. So it is possible to push to 6.5k life easily in softcore. So let's talk about cluster jewels. So first one is a large one. So the most important thing here is you need 2 jewel sockets, which makes the jewel expensive. Right now I am using only 1 in hardcore because they are expensive, but I will probably buy one in 1 or 2 days. So 1 jewel sockets are very cheap, so you can just buy one at leech start, let's say, and work your way through the 2 socket ones. The other stuff, the most important 2 stat is renewal and rotten claws. Rotten claws is adds another 20% chance impale to your minions. So actually you only need 1 rotten claw. You can buy something different on your second jewel, because our minions are already at 100% impale effect, impale chance. Let's get rid of 1 and see what happens. So they still have 90%, which is very good actually. So you can maybe buy a cheaper one without rotten claw as your second large jewel. So that 10% impale chance, of course, maybe makes some difference. But if it is way cheaper without that rotten claw, you can just buy one like that. So the other one is renewal. So some life regeneration for minions, but the most important one is 10% chance to deal double damage while they are on full life. So our minions has lots of regeneration and some leech. So make sure you put a leech on one of your jewels. You can also get this if you don't have jewel yet, to get some minion leech. Actually there is also another thing to boost this double damage, because it says full life, it doesn't say anything about inner shield. There is actually this here, grave intentions, that gives minions gain 10% of maximum life as extra maximum inner shield. So this actually gives your minions some inner shield based on their life. So right now my minions has, let's see, dominating blow, yeah, 17,000k, 17,000, yeah, life. So that means that they will get 1.7k inner shield if you got grave intentions. But this is very long way, traveling to grave intentions. So you can just anoint your amulet. So I already prepared that for you. So right now I am using grave pact, but if you want to test grave intentions, just go like this and delete this plus here and just add something here like this, and then you will have grave intentions. So now right now we have grave intentions, so our minions has, let's see, 1.7k inner shield. So if they don't get, if they don't lose their inner shield, they will always be on full health, so you can use this to boost that double damage. Let's just fix this because we will calculate our DPS later. So grave intentions is actually better. Not grave intentions, pardon, grave pact, because it gives way more DPS. But most of the time the minions has full life actually. So that's something that you can do with, it's up to you to what to anoint. Alright, let's go for medium jewels. So the most important thing is pure agony, because it gives +1 maximum number of sentinels of purity. So those are our herald of purity minions, not the dominating blow. There is actually nothing to boost dominating blow in any cluster jewels, unfortunately. So pure agony gives +1, and these guys alone deal at least 1 million DPS. So these jewels add at least 1.5 million DPS each. So these are the main jewels to increase your DPS actually. But of course the large one also gives a lot of DPS. So pure agony is what you are looking for. There are two possibilities on your other node, let's say. So one is disciples. This gives 1% additional physical damage reduction per summoned sentinel. So if you have 2 cluster jewels like I do right now, you will have 4 extra purities, and you already have 4 purities on your own, so that makes 8 total. So these jewels each give 8% physical damage reduction, so it means 32% physical damage reduction if you have 4 of these. So that will give you huge physical damage reduction, which is very important, especially in hardcore. But these are a little, more expensive, let's say, but in softcore they are very cheap. So I'm talking about hardcore right now. They are a little expensive in hardcore, but in softcore they are like 40 chaos, I believe, each, so it is very cheap. But if you don't have enough money, maybe it is leech start, right, when you are playing this build. So maybe there are not good ones like this Dragon and Disciple. So there is actually another thing that you can get. It is this invigorating portent. So this gives 20% increased damage to minions and also 10% movement speed. So it is very good actually, but you will lose that physical damage reduction. So just make sure you get pure agony and whatever you can afford on your second slot. And also you need to buy the clusters with 4 or 5 passives. Do not buy them as 6 because that 6 node will be here. So you need to give some extra somewhere here. So you will lose 1 point. But if you have 4 or 5, it doesn't matter because the 5th point will be here, so you don't get that at all. And lastly, for your smalls, it doesn't matter if you get 2 or 3. It's up to you. You can maybe delay this life, or maybe don't get a jewel. So it doesn't really matter. But if you are tight on level, maybe you are low level, 2 socket is probably your choice. So we are using Fatal for that extra life. So Fatal is the best option to get life right now. So make sure you get maybe some dexterity, maybe more life as other stats. So right now this one has 5 dexterity and 9 life. That only adds to this small, right? By the way, the big one, the Fatal, doesn't give those bonuses. So if you have to cap your dexterity, or maybe a resist is also an option. Maybe you need to buy a 3-point Fatal, so you will have another small one to get that extra dexterity or maybe resistance. So just you need to do your own calculations and buy whatever is suited for you. So this is what the end game tree looks like. So let's talk about. No, actually I already explained all those. Yeah. So maybe I forgot to mention jewels. I'm not sure. Let's talk about jewels real quick, then we will calculate our DPS. So for jewels, Ghastly jewels are the best option to boost your DPS and also some survivability, because you can put taunt. Minions have a percentage of chance, to taunt on attack. So this is very good. Make sure you get at least 1 jewel with taunt and at least 1 jewel with blind. Let's see if we have any. I have, but I can't find. Weird. Let's just show in game. Yep, this one. 5% chance to blind. So make sure you put at least one blind and one taunt on your jewels. The more blind is better, obviously, because it increases the chance. So especially it is very important in hardcore. I currently have two, I believe, different blind jewels. So the other good stats are attack speed. Minions have attack speed. And where is it? Let's find one. Yep, this one. Minions deal, let's see, 15 to 20%. It changes, obviously. Increase damage if you have used the minion skill recently. So we are always using dominating blow and maybe convocation, those kind of minion skills. So this will be up all the time. So this is actually the best option for your DPS. Minions deal X damage if you have used a minion skill recently. This is the best option. But the flat physical one and also the attack speed is also good options. But if you want to buy one with physical, flat physical, make sure you find something high tier. So right now this is actually tier 3, but I bought this jewel for the other stats actually, and I was lucky enough to find something like this. So if you want to get physical, make sure you get at least tier 2. But the minions deal damage, if you have used minion skill, is the best option. So I think that's about the jewels. So now let's see our endgame DPS calculated. So right now we are using this helmet that I already showed, and we have some plus gem amulet. There should also be +1 to physical gems. So I forgot to do that here, so I boost my purity to 22. Normally it can be 21 obviously, but now I put 22 because of the amulet, +1 physical gems. So you should aim for that when you have the money, both strength and both physical gems. And 1 circle of guild and all the other stuff. Make sure you pick feeding frenzy, minions on full life, power charge, friends charge, monkeys give those charges. At least 5 allies. This is because we are playing Guardian. While there are at least 5 nearby allies, you and nearby allies have onslaught. And also 10% more damage with at least 1 ally. So you need to type at least 5 here. Have you attacked recently? Have you used the minion skill? Is the enemy blind? This doesn't give DPS, but just check it. Because we are blinding. And also intimidate, this is very important. And Shaper Guardian. You can also put Cyrus. Cyrus has a little more armor, so you will lose a little DPS. So let's just... I already calculated Shaper Guardian, so that's why I'm gonna tick that for now. So right now, 1 Herald of Purity deals 1.8 million DPS, almost 1.9. So maybe if you get a little higher level, let's just get this 1.9 million. So they deal almost 2 million damage each, and we have 8 of these. So I will write the calculations on the screen right now, so you can check. And my other, yeah, dominating blows. So if you are fighting a big boss like Shaper, Cyrus, obviously you don't have any rare or magic monsters to summon, so you will only have 9 normal sentinels. So that's why we will multiply it with 9 only. So each dominating blow minion deals 720,000 DPS on their own. So we will multiply this with 9. I don't calculate the DPS from, carrying golem. I don't know how much DPS deals. Let's see, but it doesn't really matter because it doesn't deal anything. And also we have some raised specters, but we need to put some specters here, so it doesn't really matter. They don't deal that much damage. So we will only calculate dominating blow and what else? Herald of Purity, yeah. So the total DPS should be more than 20 million. I will write it on the screen. So this is how your end game should look like. So this is more than enough to clear everything easily in the game. And this is completely ethical. We are not abusing anything. Dominating Blow also didn't get any changes recently, so it is actually probably the least played minion skill right now. So if they buff it, maybe in the future it will get even more powerful. And another thing to say, all the other stupid shit people are playing right now are all gonna be nerfed, so maybe Dominating Blow will be a good choice after 3.11, who knows. So I believe that's about it. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, and I will see you next time.